You're listening to Dr. Emma and me on the Tudors Dynasty and Beyond podcast. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I am one of your hosts, Rebecca Larson, and it's Thursday, so that means it's time to welcome back my co-host, Dr. Emma. Welcome.
Hello, Rebecca. How are you doing?
I'm great. You know, Thursdays are always my favorite time of the week because I get to chat with my bestie.
Thirsty Thursdays. Used to be some other stuff. Now it's just some coffee. 40s will hit you hard, people.
She's got coffee and I got my Diet Mountain Dew. It's not even noon.
I'm not that far beyond gone, Rebecca, to drink Diet Mountain Dew, but
I know. I seriously have a problem. I am addicted to it. When I went to England, there was no Diet Mountain Dew, and I went through withdrawal.
as long as you're aware of it.
I am. I tell people all the time.
We're here for you, though. We're here for you.
Thank you, Emma. Gosh, you're so sweet.
I know. I have to watch you drink that stuff every day. I'm like, oh.
I know. She's always concerned for my health. She's like,
I think that's the European in me, you know? That's the European in me that I think this is going back to childhood trauma at this point. Soda was very restricted to us growing up. It was like a very occasional thing. So I'm going to tell a little anecdote before we start. I used to only be able to drink Coke, or however you Americans call it, at parties, at birthday parties, right?
Oh.
So whenever I would get invited to a birthday party, I wouldn't be just excited for the birthday party. I would be like, yes, finally, I'm getting Coca-Cola. You know, kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I love it.
And I used to get so riled up, so intense about it, that my mom would be like, I'm not sure I'm taking you to this party. You're way too intense.
It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to go to this birthday party and see my friends and eat cake.
No, I was like walking around the house like Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola.
Oh my. I think I blame my mother for my addiction to, well, soda, maybe. I won't say
blaming mothers.
I am. I'm blaming her. When we reached a certain age where we were allowed to have soda, right?
Yeah.
We were allowed 1 can a day, and that was it. You were allowed 1 can. Well,
you were allowed a can of soda a day?
Yeah.
See, that's growing up in the US versus growing up in Spain.
I know.
In Spain, you were allowed 1 glass when you went to a birthday party. And then the mom would sneak another one, like, come on, like you were in prison, right? Come on, little girl, have another one. But then since you never had it, it would just had an effect that you wouldn't sleep that night. It does have an effect on you.
I feel like it has 0 effect on me now, but I have to tell the story. My little story was we were only allowed 1 can a day. And I remember my younger brother and I would get home from school, and that would be like the first thing that we would go for. And I don't know why I remember drinking RC Cola. And what did RC stand for? Royal Crown or something like that? It came in the blue box with the big red RC, right?
Right. And
we'd grab our can of soda and we'd like chug it down and eat a bag of Doritos, like just so American, right? Just gluttony. And your soda would be gone. You'd be like, man, I'm so thirsty. I need another one. And then we thought we were so sneaky. Like we would sneak another can out and then we would like cough or pretend sneeze.
Yeah.
But I attributed that restriction on soda to why once I moved out, it was like soda, I need soda all the time because you could then. And now I'm addicted to Diet Mountain Dew because it's delicious.
Yeah, that's what you get. Oh, I'll tell you a little other anecdote. I had never tried Mountain Dew in my life because that's not a soda we have in Europe, right?
Right.
So, right. For health reasons, probably.
It is.
The authorities are like, not this one, guys. So one of the first times when I moved here in 2016, 10 years ago, and one of the first nights that we went out to a fast food, as you do in America, and I love fast food, don't get me wrong. You know, burgers are top 5 of my favorite foods of all time. we went to this fast food restaurant, and I'm like, oh, this is a soda I've never tried, Mountain Dew. And I just thought, I'll try it. My husband didn't say anything about it, so I just tried this thing. I thought, oh, it's delicious. It's like a very upbeat Sprite, It's like a woo, let's
Yeah.
go, baby, Sprite. Little did I know, I went home and tried to sleep that night, and at 3 a.m. I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm never gonna sleep again ever. Now you know
Well,
what it was.
the caffeine in the Mountain Dew will do it for you. I think it's the elixir that keeps me looking young is Mountain Dew, and I will never stop
It's
drinking.
working because, girl, you look not a day over 21.
And I'm actually 102, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say we need a sponsor. Mountain Dew
Yeah.
needs to sponsor
Why are
the
we not
show.
like getting a sponsorship from these guys?
Oh my gosh, you guys. I can just feel the people unsubscribing right now who get annoyed with our stupid banter at the beginning.
Yeah. But I can also hear the people who love this part, and there's many people that say that they love it. Then, this is what feels. This is why people feel that they're with friends in a podcast, because it's just talking about real life before we talk about our favorite thing.
Yeah. And I feel like when we talk, I forget there are people who are going to listen or watch this after. So you are
Forget I
really,
have a podcast. When I talk, I forget I have a podcast. When I'm editing, I remember I have a podcast.
yeah. And then I go, ooh, why did I say that? Why did I make that face? Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, I have to mention again, like every episode that I'm putting out, 9 years this month.
Whoop, whoop.
You guys, I can't even. I just keep saying, like, I never would have imagined 9 years ago when I sat down for that first time to record and I was shaking and nervous. And it was just me. I wasn't even interviewing anybody. It was just me reading facts, basically. Never in a million years would I have imagined that I would still be doing this and that thousands of people would be listening to me. Like,
Over a decade, almost.
oh, yeah.
Wow, very impressive.
I'm just
This
grateful.
is now a podcast about Rebecca Larson and her journey of over 9 years.
I do feel like I could talk a long time about podcasting and my journey
course.
podcasting, and I don't know, maybe
You
I'll
know
do
me, I'll tag along. I'll talk about whatever. I'll talk about the weather in Minnesota. I'll talk about curling.
yeah,
Any
that's right.
updates in Oh, I did see something about curling, and I thought of you.
Yeah.
The Winter Olympics are about to start in Italy.
Yes.
One of the team members of Team USA is 56 years old.
Wow.
Never too late to go to the Olympics
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
if you're curling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I never went to the curling tournament. I went to a roller rink instead and celebrated a friend's birthday. I felt like I was 11 years old again. I haven't been to a roller rink since I was 11. I didn't skate. Everybody was teasing me that I didn't skate, but I was like, not for me.
You have to be very sure to be skating out there. It's slippery. I'm not kidding. It's very slippery. I think, I have a daughter who was born and raised here.
Yeah.
And I can see the difference between someone who's not born and raised here and lives here to a person whose reality has always been, this is the winter and we love it. And she was born in the winter. She's a January baby.
That's right.
So, yeah. So it's you see that, the place where you grow up, it impacts you.
Yeah. That ice skating, that's ice skating, but I was at a roller skating rink,
you were roller skating rink.
Yeah. If it was ice skating, I probably would have put on some ice skates, and I know. I was born with skates on my feet. I thought I was going to be an Olympic figure skater when I was a kid, so yeah.
After a can of soda, big dreams.
Okay, anyway, let's get to our episode today because we are doing a Parallel Lives again.
Yes, whose great idea was Parallel Lives? Remind me again.
Plutarch.
I almost forgot. I almost thought it was my idea. Jeez, Emma.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was. Recently, I was reading something that brought up Plutarch and his writings, and I was like,
I know this guy.
I've heard of him before.
Yes.
But
He's the guy we stole the idea from.
That's right. That's right. But it's been great. Like, from the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know, parallel lives. How good is that going to be? But it has been fantastic.
I think people are gonna like this one because who doesn't like to talk about Tudor women, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And today we're talking about two wives of Henry VIII. We're talking
Yes.
about number one and number four. So we have
Number one and number four.
Emma's favorite and really.
Who? The fourth?
No. Wait, which one is my favorite again? No,
Which one?
I have really seen a resurgence. And maybe it's not even a resurgence because she never was that popular before, but I have definitely seen since we've been talking about her, and when I say we, I really mean you, but it's on this podcast. Katherine of Aragon has become way, way more popular in the last in the last year. And I have to say, and I know you're on my podcast, but I have to say that you have contributed a lot to bringing her life to the. Why are you laughing at me?
Non-stop jabbering about this woman. People are okay. We get it.
But you humanized her. You made her a whole person. And before that, it was just Katherine of Aragon. Oh, how sad, and
Yeah, she was in a dingy corner.
Yeah,
they're sad, crying her eyes out.
Right. And now she's this amazing woman who has stepped forward from the shadows of history and shown us her true colors. Thanks to you, Dr. Emma. I'm giving you all the credit on this.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's just one of these things in life where you just get an obsession and you pursue it for 10 years.
Yeah, I get that.
And then you're like, I'm going to write 1,000 pages about this and call it a dissertation.
Yeah.
But yes, I think to me, because I studied Isabel and Fernando, her parents, and because that was such a big part of Spanish history and shaped so much our history, and we are taught that in school, a bit like Elizabeth I in English schools, or even in American schools when you study the Renaissance, you study Shakespeare and this and that. I would get a bit mad when then I would read the books in English and she'd be like this dingy person that was just like in the sidelines, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't correspond with what I was finding out about her, studying her from a different perspective. So I think the perspective means a lot when you're studying something.
Yeah.
In that sense, I think both women, so Catherine of Aragon, Catherine of Spain, Catalina de España,
yes,
is one of our parallel lives with Anne of Cleves, right?
Yes.
And in this sense, I think Anne of Cleves will have is coming to her moment too. I think the musical Six helped a lot. I went to see that I have to say it. I went to see that in the West End in London.
I love that.
Now you can hate me. But I think she was one of the best ones in that musical.
Really?
Yes. Anne of Cleves was one of the best ones. Because they didn't portray her as this outcast wife, and we all know. We can go over their stories a little bit. But she was portrayed as someone who was smart enough to realize, oh, good, I'm dodging a tool. Right?
Yes.
So in that sense, I find Anne of Cleves fascinating. There has been some work done on her contributions, and I think that she was very smart to also build good relationships with key people in the Tudor court, because not only she was able to maintain good graces with Henry, but she also had a place in Mary the First's court. Yeah. And she dies during Mary the First's reign, and she has a big funeral because of that Mary organizes. Queen Mary the First. In that sense, I would like to say that the first difference between Catherine of Aragon and Anna of Cleves is that Anna of Cleves is Catherine of Aragon's daughter's age. So
Yeah.
Anna was born in 1515 in Dusseldorf. Oh, I love to say that.
I love German. I really do.
If anyone German is listening or Austrian is listening to this, please, sorry about my pronunciation, but I had to say it that way.
Dusseldorf.
Dusseldorf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I
I
took
was
2 years of German, and I think I'm from Berlin or something.
I always, I feel like I talk about this every time. I took 4 years of German and I was never good at the accent, even though I lived with it around me in my home life. I was never good at picking up on the accent.
I think accents, I'm good at accents because since I was a little kid, when I was sent to England to learn English, I quickly realized that imitating accents makes you be understood a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
My family comes from the northeast of England, so they have a very strong, well, not my family, not per se, but the people in the northeast of England have a very strong accent called, Mackem in the case of the city of Sunderland. So when I went back to Spain and I was being an English teacher, nobody would understand me. So I had to switch my accent quite a bit. So I think I've always been dramatic and theatrical. So I think I just like it, I just like the fun of trying to imitate an accent and trying to sound like the people.
I love it.
You know, I can do a pretty bad Minnesotan accent too if you want.
That's funny. I feel like I'm from Minnesota. I try really hard not to have the accent, but it comes out in the O's. It definitely does. Like if you're not consciously thinking about it and trying to stop yourself from elongating the O's like that. Yeah, yeah. Like
the outs and the
it just it
and there's
comes
the
out.
little phrases that I love, like the stay warm. And how am I gonna stay warm and it's cold as hell? Yeah. Have a good one. Have a good one. That's another very Minnesotan one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, the first very evident difference between Anna of Cleves and Catherine of Aragon, because we are talking about parallel lives, guys. This is not a podcast about our childhood trauma and Minnesotan accents.
That's right.
Is the age difference, right?
Yes.
So Henry did have 6 wives, so that they get younger. That's what we're saying.
They did get younger. That's funny. I never even thought about it like that because after Anna was Catherine Howard, who was younger than Anna, and then we have Catherine Parr, who is younger than Anna as well. Well, yeah.
Well, the time passes. So that's it. But in this case, is very significant that Anna of Cleves was born in 1515 and died in 1557. So basically, she has the same lifespan as Mary the First of England, who was born in 1516 and dies in 1558. So basically, and this tells you a little, it just gives you an idea of how long people lived, in those times. It's usually not a long time. So that's the main difference. Think about this. Catherine of Aragon was born in the 15th century. In 1485.
Yeah.
So she was 30 years older than Anna of Cleves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I feel like we should have done a parallel lives with Mary the First and Anna of Cleves since they were the same age.
No, but I think Anna and Catherine are of all the wives are the most similar in many ways and respects, and the most different in many ways and respects. The most similar is they're both political brides.
True.
And none of the others are really.
No, because they were English brides.
Well, you could argue that Anne Boleyn was a political bride in the sense of a family from the gentry trying to get further advanced in the court.
Okay.
But they're not she's not an international bride, right?
Right.
Out of the 6 wives, Henry VIII, you could do a podcast for 100 years with Henry VIII and his wives because there's 6 of them. But Anna and Catherine are the only two ones that are political and internationally political rights. And they signify very well what the Reformation does to foreign policy in the Tudor court, right?
Okay.
Well, first of all, because the Reformation starts because of Katherine of Aragon.
Right, yeah.
Right? Yes, the Anglican Reformation. But think about this. And I want to emphasize this because I think people, because Henry VIII is this champion of Reformation, and then Elizabeth I establishes the Reformation and is Anglican, we tend to forget that the Tudor court was Catholic, right? Yeah. So, first of all, Katherine of Aragon was a Catholic bride that came to reinforce a political alliance that Henry VIII, Henry VII, had when he wanted to establish himself as a European monarch. Right?
Yeah.
And really, he seeks for this alliance with Isabel and Fernando, and they're the first ones to recognize Henry VII internationally with this marriage that we all know it's not to Henry VIII, it's to his brother Arthur, right?
Right.
So, in this sense, Catherine is the tool, and just to use the word, that is used to reinforce this alliance to really establish the Tudors as an international power.
Which they needed at the time because Henry VII was the first Tudor king. Some saw him as a usurper of the throne after Richard III was killed at the Battle of Bosworth. Yeah, so he needs some legitimacy here and on a global scale.
If you read the correspondence between Isabel, Fernando, and Henry VII, you can tell who is the one needing stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I would like to point out. In the case of Anna of Cleves, she is the daughter of John III, Duke of Cleves. So that's why she's Anna of Cleves. Anna of Cleves. And Maria of Julichberg or something like that.
I love it. I love German. Yes.
And these are Protestant. This is a Protestant German family. So, but you see this, it's not the daughter of a king anymore. Right?
No, right.
No. Because later on in the Stuart period, there will be other Protestant daughters of like Anna of Denmark, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's telling about Henry VIII's decline in international policy, really. Yeah. He doesn't have the bandwidth anymore. First of all, because he is not allied with the Catholics, who are at the time still very important. And the Counter-Reformation is something maybe we should talk more about because I don't think a lot of people know so much about. But also about the fact that he's an aging monarch too, that hasn't managed to have a son, or who just had a son, right? Because Henry does have a son by the time he kind of marries Anna of Cleves, right? Yes, Prince Edward.
Yeah.
So the two marriages, so that both political brides, the two marriages are very telling of the political situation in the Tudor court, I think. That's the first parallel, the political brides. They didn't marry Henry because they thought he was cute.
Right? They didn't get a copy of his portrait and go, "Oh yes, Daddy, can I please marry the tool?"
Yes. Well, and to be honest, if Catherine would have first of all, Catherine knew Henry since he was 10 years old because she arrives to marry Arthur and she marries Arthur, right?
True, yes.
But in the case of Anna, she would have seen pictures of Henry because who is sent to paint her?
Holbein.
No other than Hans Holbein the Younger.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And who else is sent? Do you remember?
Lavina Tierlink.
The previous one, Susanna.
Dang it, Hornboot. I knew I was going to get that wrong.
Right. So Susanna Horenboot is sent too. She's an artist too, praised by Dürer, and she's sent too. So, and she has served Catherine of Aragon.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think Henry wants to shape Anna from the beginning in a way that she knows how to behave in the Tudor court, like Catherine of Aragon had said the president, right? That's why she sends. And there's a very cute passage that says that when Anna of Cleves, and because Susanna is sent, Holbein is sent, Holbein paints that beautiful, beautiful picture of Anna of Cleves that is now in the Louvre in Paris.
Yes.
Was restored not long ago to its glory. Yeah. Beautiful. And they have very nice high resolution images too, if you just want to check out the level of detail. But Susanna is sent to accompany her back home to England. And there's an anecdote that in Calais, she's teaching her how to play cards.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I really do.
Imagine that would have been like, and then the language thing, right? Susanna was from Ghent. So she would have been able to talk to Anna. Imagine, so that was my second point, was that they were both foreign brides that had to adapt to the customs of England.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But the biggest difference is Catherine was raised knowing and learning, whereas Anna was kind of thrown into it.
Yes, because let's remember that she wasn't even Henry's first pick, because he was deciding between the two sisters, right? Amalia and Anna. So they both knew what was up. In the case of Catherine, I think it was different because Henry met her when he was 10. He grew up with her, and he grew up seeing what she did as an ambassadress. And who is not like, what 10-year-old boy is not impressed by a foreign princess who comes and speaks Latin and is, talking to her father. And by the way, one of the things that I think is very important to remember is that, for example, the fashion that Catherine would have taken to England, even though it was very shaped by Moorish fashion, because that was the case in Isabel and Fernando's court, it also was very Burgundian, which was not far from what the English court were trying to achieve there too.
Sure.
So in that sense, it would have been exotic, but not totally foreign. Whereas the German fashion would have been more far off, I think.
Yeah.
That's something that I think, another thing that I thought was very interesting about both women, and this is a difference between them, is they're both discharged when the political things change, right?
Yes.
Do you really think that Henry, we know why he discharged Catherine?
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't have a boy. Well, she did in 1511, but she didn't. The boy didn't survive, and they didn't have a son. And she turned 40, and he was like, bye, right?
Yeah.
But in the case of Anna of Cleves, do you think that Henry didn't like her, or do you think there was a political shift in him, and that alliance wasn't good?
Yeah, I think I'm going to reference Heather Darcy's biography on Anne of Cleves, because I feel like after accessing the German archives, she brought to light a side of the story that we hadn't been told, which was political things shifted after Anna came to England. Exactly. And the Duke of Cleves, who at that point I believe was Anna's brother, wanted England to kind of own up on this treaty and come help fight a war or assist with him. And Henry was like, no, that's fine. No,
that's not what we talked about.
Yeah, only I benefit from this. So just so you know, Mr. Duke of Cleves.
Yeah. Excuse me?
So that's what I think happened. I think he liked Anna. I think they got along. I think history has been completely unfair to her, calling her the horse's mare or whatever it was, saying that she smelled. After talking to James Taff on his accounting of the Anna
Yes.
book, it creates this full picture of her that what history has been telling us isn't necessarily always right. That sometimes there are sources that we're missing out on that create a fuller picture of these people.
And there are a lot of these comments about, it's always about women's appearance that are not based on contemporary sources, that are things that are said later on or things like that. And we always take with a grain of salt when someone says that, where is it coming from? And I will refer back to, for example, Francis I's comment that Catherine of Aragon was old and deformed, right?
Yep.
So because when she arrived to England, they said she was the most beautiful creature in the world. So it depends a lot on the political view. A woman was attractive or not, too. You know what I mean?
Sadly.
So in that sense, um, do you think that maybe Henry decided that that wasn't a good fit for him instead of and just blamed it on I don't like her?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly. I think he was embarrassed to say that, oh, I know I made this treaty with the Duke of Cleves, but now I don't want to hold up my end of the bargain. So I'm just going to make up some story about how I don't like her. And maybe somebody helped him. Maybe there was somebody else behind the scenes who helped him come up with this storyline, this narrative that I don't
Well,
know.
I think Henry was pretty good at doing these things on his own too, you know. So, but he probably had a whisper in his ear. Why I brought this up is because I think in this sense is the biggest difference between the two women, the way they reacted to the dismissal, right?
Yes. De-
And that why was the reason why I wanted to talk about these two women in this today's episode is how different it is when you react one way or another to a bully, which we've all agreed that Henry VIII was a bully, right? I think everybody
Clearly.
who listens to this podcast agrees.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So in case of and I think it's very different for one key reason. Catherine has a daughter. Anna had just arrived, right?
Yes. Yes.
So very, very different.
Yeah.
Well, very different. Catherine had been crowned and had been queen for a big difference is
Yeah.
really, did he have six wives? Oh, now let's get down to the
Right.
to the
Technically, no.
right. That's what I'm saying. Was Anna of Cleves ever Queen of England, really? That
No.
could be a debate to be have,
I
right?
know. I know. That's a
It's just a good number to just, there's a rhyme and we all love it. But
yeah.
if we think about it, was Anna of Cleves really Queen of England ever?
No.
And this is why. And you know what? You said that that you hear more about Catherine of Aragon. You know what I don't hear a lot about anymore? The six wives. Uh,
She's obviously joking, you guys.
well, I'm joking and not. I don't hear a lot this narrative anymore about the problem with this is my Trojan horse.
Okay.
The problem with I know it's cool from a perspective of marketing. Six wives, we've all heard of it for years and this and that. But from a historical perspective, it is very unfair. I mean, first of all, to six women that were totally different and had
Hmm.
very different life experiences. But to be honest with you, with the one who was there for 20 years, putting up with a tool,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
helped him build his empire,
And the,
who was an ambassadress who brought the emperor to England, who was really the person in the backstage. putting up with Wolsey after he decides he's the hottest thing in town. You know what I mean? After she sets up everything, he's like, I'll take it from here, Catherine. Thank you very much.
And then,
so I think that narrative about the six wives is very unfair to the individual lives and what they, because I think it's very unfair to Anne Boleyn, who really changes the course of England with her relationship with Henry, right? Yeah. What does Catherine Howard have, for example? She was just a little girl that just happened to be around.
Right. Yeah. And all we have left of her is just a tragic ending.
Right. So it's this piling them up in one group of six women. I have my troubles with it.
Yeah.
I have my troubles with it. Yeah. So if we think in perspective, 20 years versus basically traveling to England and being dismissed and being half married for 6 months it's not the same experience. She didn't go through a coronation in Westminster Abbey. She didn't go through pregnancies. She didn't give birth to a son like Katherine of Aragon did in 1511. So it's a very different life experience. You know what I mean?
Very,
very, very. And the key difference that I was saying is the way that they react. And this is when we can talk about what everybody knows about Katherine of Aragon being the Spaniard who is like, nope, no, no gracias. I'm sure that when she got really mad at Henry, she would change to Spanish. That's what I do.
When I think of Katherine of Aragon, I think about you and your personality and how similar.
Oh, really?
I do. I feel like at least you. I can't lump together all Spanish women, but in particular, I love when you get all fiery and worked up, and that's how I see Katherine of Aragon too. Like she can be calm and composed when she needs to be, but you better watch out because if you get on her bad side, she is going to fight.
I think she was more calm and composed than I am, for sure.
Well, she was born royal, so your upbringings were a little bit different.
Yeah. She didn't know what soda was, what Coca-Cola was. But but definitely, I think, but it's a key difference. So Catherine puts up a fight, and we don't need to talk about it because everybody's bored about hearing about the divorce and all that happens and the trial and how, but they're both very smart. Because for Catherine, it's the only way. Because her daughter has been declared a bastard. Yeah. There's no way if she doesn't put up a fight that her daughter's going to stand a chance.
Right.
Right. But in the case of Anna of Cleves, she has a very different life situation. So what should she decides to do? Comply.
Yeah, she's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll be labeled as the king's
I don't need to touch you. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bit like in Six musical. That's a bit the idea of Anna of Cleves. It's like, I dodged a bullet there, you know?
She really did. And it seems like her life in England was pretty good until Henry died. And then it became a little more stressful for her.
And let's remember that Anna comes to England when Anne Boleyn has already been executed.
Yes.
So it's not the same to meet Henry at 10, a little boy, know, marrying him at 17 when he's, a teenager, than being promised to the king who's already chopped the head off his second wife.
I mean, let's look at his track record. His first wife, he set aside. His second one,
poisoned.
Yeah, and poison. So he killed her. And then his second wife, he killed. His third wife died after childbirth. Who knows what actually killed her? I still suspect there was something else going on there too, because she lived way too long after having a kid for it to be childbed fever. But Anna comes in and she's like, "Oh, no wonder why the Duchess of Milan, was it Christina? No wonder why she was like, no thanks. That's a hard pass."
She's the one who said, if I had two heads, I would give one to the King of England. It's like, Girl!
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, did the Duke of Cleves know all of this? Did he know what he was sending his sister into, or did he just not care? He was like, go, please, we need you to do this.
I don't know the Duke of Cleves very well, but I do know that in other cases, the political stuff is above the family love for parents.
Yeah.
It's just too important, and yeah, the feelings are under. Yeah, it's not. It's about the political statements, not about the underlining feelings.
Yeah, here
So
it's your responsibility now to take care of this for us, for your
it
homeland.
it's your birthright and your birth chore really.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so yes, no, in that case, no, but she accepts it, and like we know, she ends up with a pretty good life.
yeah,
She ends up getting Hever Castle.
yes.
She Simon Thurley did very good study on how she remodels uh Hever Castle and adds a gallery.
Wow.
Something that, Anne Boleyn had done with Henry in Whitehall Palace. They had refurbished that palace for them to live together. So I think Anna of Cleves arrives, sees Whitehall Palace, and when she's taken to Hever Castle, is like, I'm going to do the same. Why? Because at this time we have a shift, and medieval uh, fortresses and castles are being transformed into palaces. So the gallery would be the place to hang your paintings,
Mm.
right? And to walk with your. So what is that? What that is telling me is that she would receive people there. She'd change, remodel this place to receive people. So she had some sort of political role.
She wasn't an outcast. She wasn't seen
No,
as like stay away from her.
no, no. What did Sir Henry call her? His sister, right? His beloved sister.
Yeah, yep, the king's
Yeah.
beloved sister, which is
Well, that's
weird,
very
but
common. We see it with other people, like the names, they treat each other like family once there has been a bond. And then she becomes someone who is close to Mary the First, because let's remember that Anna was Catholic, really.
yeah,
Um, and when she dies in 1557, she has a very big funeral,
yeah, Catholic funeral.
a Catholic funeral. Well, because we're in
Yeah,
the reign of Mary the First of England.
yes,
So that is very different. You see, when you see that, you see how different their life was when you comply to a bully, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you have to feel for Catherine. Obviously, she had spent so many years with Henry, loving him, having children by him. And then he just throws it all away and pretends like it never existed, which blows my mind. I mean, they were together 2 decades, and how do you annul a marriage that's been together for 2 decades?
That's why everybody was like, "What?"
It never existed. I'm pretty sure it did. We have a child here to prove that it
Yeah.
existed.
We never had children. Mary's like, "Hey, hi,
Over
daddy," and he's like, "Shut up."
Yeah, yeah. And then you have on
Yeah.
the flip side, you have Anna, and they were only married 6 months, and she was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I would have liked to be the Queen of England, probably, but if I can live in this country, which seems to be pretty good to me, and I can thrive and survive, and
And
uh,
adapt, because I think
mm,
we have to remember that what Catherine of Aragon did was extraordinary. Women usually complied and had to comply because their lives would be in danger if they didn't. Like
yeah,
Catherine's life was in danger, and she finally was. If she wasn't poisoned, and maybe people are like, "Oh, why did she say?" Well, there were accounts that she was. Her doctor said that she was. She had been cooking her own food in her own chambers for
yeah,
months on end.
worried,
And if she wasn't poisoned, at least and she was taken to the worst places to just die, right?
right, right,
The difference it makes, because she didn't comply. The same that happened to Anne Boleyn, because she's speaking up and saying, "Hey, you can't just go off with another woman. You can't just do this. You
yeah,
can't just do
yeah,
that." And Henry's like, you didn't get the memo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I get to call the shots and you're silent, woman, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anna of Cleves just shows is a big example of, if you complied, things could be good for you, because above all, Henry didn't want to upset her family. I mean, that's another issue. She wasn't just this commoner that he married, right?
Right.
Why upset her family if he could just have her there and, move on to the little girl. Howard. I mean, that's maybe we should have a parallel life Henry before the beheading of Anne Boleyn and after.
Wow.
I know that sounds complicated, but you know what I mean, right?
So a parallel
I
live
think
of Henry versus Henry.
this is a parallel universe where I invent things that don't exist. People, follow me into this deep dive,
I'm trying to
into the
understand this.
unknown of no. But what I mean, just because we do parallel lives, but I think there's a snap, there's a turning point for Henry when he beheads Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
Is it due to, a lot of people said, to his accident, horse ride accident?
Right.
I don't think so. Think about this. Even though he started the Anglican Reformation, Henry was basically a Catholic.
Yeah. No doubt.
And I think the guilt, the narcissist with the guilt was just too much, because, and I think we've talked about this before in the podcast, he just doesn't make sense after that. I
Yeah.
think the only smart decision he makes after that is Catherine Parr.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Who he steals from
Who he
Thomas
steals
Seymour.
from. Exactly. Who's that? Nah, I'm only kidding. Um, and in that sense, what I noted here, I don't know how much time we have left, but um, why do they act different too? And I think there's a big reason why they act different too. The degree of political threat was very different in the case of Katherine of Aragon and Anna of Cleves.
Oh, that is such a great point. Was, I don't even know how to describe it other than ginormously different between the two. I mean, right, Catherine, and I don't mean to step on your toes, but Catherine had the might of Spain behind her.
And the empire, because we have to remember that Charles V is King of Spain and Holy Roman Emperor. Holy Roman Emperor, holy moly. So this little guy, born in Ghent, I'm not going to say it, was just the most powerful guy in Europe. So when Henry decides to cast away Catherine, and let's not forget, the year he decides to cast away Catherine for Anne Boleyn is the year that Charles marries Elizabeth of Portugal instead of Princess Mary Tudor. So I don't think Henry VIII discards Catherine of Aragon because he's in love with Anne Boleyn. I think he discards Catherine of Aragon because he's decided Anne Boleyn is going to give him a son, which are different things.
Right. Gosh, this makes me think of a what if episode. And I know we don't do much what ifs here, but what if Henry had allowed the marriage between Mary and Charles? And
well, it was Charles who decided to marry.
Oh, right.
Charles was being pressured because he was 26.
That's right, the age difference.
And he didn't have an heir. Yeah. Men were pressured to have heirs too, like Henry, right?
Yeah.
So he decides to, and ends up deciding to marry, we always joke, the other cousin, right? Who's closer to him in age, and not Mary Tudor. So the good what if would have been, what if Charles would have waited for Mary and would have married Mary?
Yeah.
What would that would have looked like? Would Henry would have discarded Catherine of Aragon? I can tell you, no.
Right, and she would. We have to remember too. Catherine of Aragon was older than Henry VIII, so it's possible she may have died before him too, and he could have remarried at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. Or that's true. That's a very good point. What if Mary, who was very young, would have, married Charles at 14, 15 and given him a son?
Yeah. Now
You
Henry
know,
has an heir.
now Henry has an heir. Exactly. Different dynasty, but still an
Yeah.
heir.
Yeah.
So it's I think one of the problems of romanticizing back to the six wives and all the historical, and we love it, and I don't want to be a part of it, but when you take it from a historical context and you analyze the international relations, it's very obvious why Henry discards Catherine. It's because he is throwing a fit
Yeah.
against the Spanish and the Empire. He does that when Mary Rose is betrothed to Charles V when he's not Charles V, and that what does he do when that's falling apart? He marries Mary Rose to Louis XII of France,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Whenever he feels betrayed, and it happened before with Fernando of Aragon too. Henry knows the Spanish are more powerful than him, so he's trying to get them to come around and be his ally. So whenever he feels betrayed, he goes in a rant and he throws a fit. And the Anne Boleyn thing is just the same thing. So that's why I'm saying that was, I think, maybe people are going to be like, whoa, but I think the only person that Henry really fell in love with of his wives was Catherine of Aragon. Not because, I think because it was the only time he was capable of doing that. When he was a young
Yeah.
man, inexperienced man, by the time he meets Anne Boleyn, he's so obsessed with not having a son. We have to think what this does to people. Having one pregnancy after another. We have to think Henry was a person too, a man
Yeah.
with feelings, even though we always call him the tool and this and that. You put so much of yourself into this and it doesn't happen. For someone like him with narcissistic traits that we've talked about, it's the easy fix. Oh, I know what I need. I just need a new wife.
Right. And we always talk about the pressure he must have felt knowing that he was only the second Tudor king, that this dynasty was still so young and new. And he had to have felt the pressure. And this is before he would have even considered having a queen regnant, like it has to be a son. We have sons. My dad had
Yes,
several sons. Look
yes.
what happened to the first one. And, like,
Speaking of Henry and Anne Boleyn, I was thinking, we have the letters from Henry to Anne, and they're in the Vatican. I'm just thinking it would be funny to write the letters from Anne to Henry and being like, "Oh, dearest King, no. How many times do I? No, thank you.
oh, thank you.
I've got the plague. The bus didn't arrive. My carriage is broken again." And Henry just keeps going and going. She's like, "Sorry."
Sending more jewels.
Yeah. Nice jewels, but the
I
carriage.
mean, I'll keep them, but no thanks.
You can't find a wheel that is for this carriage. Sorry to say. It must have been so hard for her. And it must have been, she was so young too, that I always think about this. It's like, how much can a young woman support this pressure?
Yeah. Right. It's not only the pressure she was receiving from Henry, but I'm sure from the men in her life too. Like, okay, like,
This is the king.
like this will do a lot of good stuff for our family. We'll get some titles and, become
Yeah.
wealthy
In
and
in that sense, all the women in the 16th century we talk about are the same.
yeah.
We could parallel them all in their lives because it's duty comes before feelings or anything like that. So
Yeah.
we always have to, I think it's very romantic to think about the love stories between one and the other, but these are all political things.
Yeah. They are.
And
I've
in that sense, Anna of Cleves and Catherine, I think they were even though we've talked that there was the way they acted was so different, they were in the way they did it, they were very smart. They were both smart women.
They were. They
Yeah.
were. I feel like there's one parallel that I don't think that we've covered that we can wrap it up here after this one. But when Catherine of Aragon came to England to marry Arthur, she did not speak English, correct?
Well, that has been said,
Oh,
but this is why you bring the expert, right?
yeah. Before you get into that, obviously the parallel in my head is neither woman, Anna or Catherine, spoke English when they arrived, but learned it. So now Dr. Emma is going to debunk my
Wow.
statements.
How we know what Catherine did in Castile is because we have very good records of her mother's accounting, right?
Okay.
So we know, and in her mother's accounting, there's all sorts of things for her girls, for her daughters and her son. Let's remember that Isabel had a son too. And in these accounts, there is, in the last 2 years leading up to Catherine leaving, she has a chaplain who is, and they call him the English guy.
How would you like
El
just to be known
inglés.
as?
No, el inglés. So to me, and he was working under her tutor Alessandro Geraldini, who was an Italian guy who taught her Latin and taught her probably Italian, of course. So this English guy that is working under her tutor, I think probably was teaching her some English. There is a letter that she writes to her dad at one point when she's in England, when Arthur has already died and she's still there, and Garrett Madeline wrote about this. She was very isolated in Durham House and all that. That she complains her English is not very good. And this has been used to say that she didn't speak English. I think this is not that she didn't speak English. I think that she didn't feel comfortable enough to make her case in English like she did in French or in Latin. We have to think this is a woman that speaks Latin.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think she just wasn't as fluent in English as she would have liked, but I think she did speak English when she went to England. Yeah.
And could
She had
understand
notions
it.
of English, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But when she formally meets Arthur, it's funny because they say that they're both speaking to each other in Latin, but the problem is the way they pronounce Latin is different, so they don't understand each other very well.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate.
The other thing that we know is that French, and we shouldn't forget that the cultivated language in the Tudor court was French.
Yes. Yes.
So she could have spoken French with and I think it's just probably her English wasn't up to par with the expectations of what she wanted to do with it. Not to be an ambassadress. But in 1513, when she's regent, I can see this in my head. She gives a full-on speech in armor, on horseback, pregnant, to the troops that are going to go up north to fight the Scots. And the guy who's telling us about this says that the troops were fired by her words.
Yeah.
And this was a speech in English. So I think she had very high standards for what she did. And I think she did speak English some English when she arrived to England. I think in Anna's case, because she wasn't betrothed to an English prince for so long, that wasn't the case. So right. I think that's a bit of a difference. Yeah. Plus the court of Cleves, it wasn't the court of Castile, right?
No. It was, you just painted the picture of Catherine of Aragon on horseback and armor, and
I know
it like makes me think of that first episode of The Spanish Princess when Isabel is on her horse and she's got all of her armor on and she is just riling up her men,
Yes.
I loved that scene because it was reminiscent of who Catherine became.
Yeah. She also had a special crown made for her. She knew how to put on a show and how to stage herself as a powerful queen. And that is very well summed in her regent when she's a regent in 1513. I mean, she's like, sure, James, James the Fourth.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
James the Fourth. Let's go, buddy. What do you have? Oh, that's what you have? Well, the reason why I think, and maybe this is for another episode, maybe we could do Parallel Lives, James IV, Catherine of Aragon, um, is that James didn't realize how much the English army had been undergoing a revolution with all the things that had arrived from Spain. Because think about that, the War of Granada was a revolution in the army, in Fernando's army too, and he sends a lot of this stuff to Catherine. So we have to think of these things when we think about really Catherine's role in the first years of the reign of Henry VIII, which we should be looking a lot more into.
Yeah. I hate to say this because I know the pressure that goes with this, but I really hope that someday down the road, let's say in the next 10 years, I'll give you some time, that you are able to put together a book on Katherine of Aragon because
Bye!
I know the pressure that goes with it. I know you have so many other responsibilities in your life and that writing a book.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you just are just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to her. And I enjoy every episode that we get to talk about her because I feel like I learned.
The 919 pages of my dissertation weren't enough for you guys?
Well, I can't read Spanish. I'm only now learning Spanish, and I don't think where I'm at is going to help me.
Okay, hit me with something.
No. You know what? I learned. This is something I have found interesting because I'm using Duolingo to learn Spanish, and I'm only doing 5 minutes a day because I know realistically I can do that. But I feel like there is a lot of similarity to Italian and Spanish. Like I learned the word bolito, right? Which means ticket, right?
Boleto, yes.
Yes. And when I say it, I hear it like almost in an Italian accent because I took some Italian on Duolingo years ago too. And I love the cadence that goes with speaking Italian.
People who are not seeing the video, she's moving her hand like she's an Italian. This is the main difference between Italians and Spanish people. Italians move a lot their hands and do gestures that are very typical of them. Yeah. Spanish people are just loud. Loud. Yeah. And a lot of the times when you hear two Spanish people, usually they're catching up and having a good time. You're like, oh, they're having a big fight. No, they're just catching up and having a good time.
Yeah, I have been around this with Emma and her friends who speak Spanish, and it is like a whole different world.
Rebecca's like, what?
I know.
Well, remember that Italian and Spanish both come from Latin, so they're very similar structurally. I can certainly what I like about Italians is they enunciate very well.
Yeah,
I think Spanish people speak very quickly sometimes, so that's a bit of a. But yeah, I love Italian. I love Italy. And all that I study, which is a lot of the Renaissance, that all comes from Italy, really.
Yeah. Spanish to me is, I think maybe it's because I've learned German. I've done a little bit of Italian learning. You start finding the commonalities in words.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't been as difficult for me. I mean, Duolingo tells me every day that I'm perfect and that I'm doing great, but I only know how to say basic things.
That's good.
I've moved on to I need a ticket for a train. I need to go to the airport.
I was a language teacher for a long time. This is like everything. It's accumulative. You have to do it every day, and even if it's a little time, just do it every day.
I'm on a 22-day streak. Today will be 23 days, so I know.
Buen trabajo.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what that meant,
Good job.
I'm loving it because I want to be prepared when we go to Spain. I want to be, I feel like I can read the language probably better than I'll be able to speak it. If I see the words or if I hear some of the words, I'll understand it, but I don't know that I'll be as good at speaking it as at least
You'll be fine. We'll take care of you.
I know you will, but I'm getting there. So anyway, okay. So can we tease maybe what we're doing next week for Parallel Lives?
If you insist.
I think, and this, I'm going to let you.
We've talked a little bit about it. About one of them, at least.
Yes. Yeah. What are we doing?
I was just surprised we've never done it. Right? It seems like a very natural one.
It does. Why don't you tell everybody what we're doing?
So we're going to talk about Anne Boleyn and her favorite daughter, her only daughter, Elizabeth I.
Yes. Yeah, this is going to be
Many people can tell us this we've never done. What are the parallels they see? And what are the differences? And then we can be like, you were totally right.
yeah, exactly. Not
That
that
would be
we're
a good
not.
exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean we're not going to do the work and find the parallels, but we want to involve you in it as well.
I want it, Rebecca.
Oh gosh. Well, I look forward to next week, next Thursday with you again, and thank you for today's episode, Emma.
Thank you, Rebecca. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Dr. Emma and Me. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review the show. It really helps more people find it. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you'll know as soon as a new episode drops. And if you'd like to support what we're doing, head over to Patreon and become a patron. You'll get early access, bonus content, and more. Thanks again for being here. See you next time.